Hello, hello. Live at, well, let me turn this light off. Would that make any difference? Yes, that's a bit better. Haven't got such a shiny forehead. Live at 11:45 today, and I am looking at my timer because have you ever struggled with expressing, verbally expressing your stories? Now, I know a lot of people, when they have a business, they feel like, I know that they're storytelling, I'm being told this, but what do I actually say? How much do I share? The thing I hear the most, I'm a private person, Jenny. I don't like to, talk too much about my stuff and what I do and why. It's private, it's personal. So if you've ever struggled with this, today's episode, live at 11:45 is for you. Now, I am in the middle of two half VIP client days. So I thought I would take a very short break just to share a little something for you. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you can think of a friend or someone who runs a business who's really busy trying to get themselves out there, or even somebody who is an employed professional who wonders how they can stand out not only within their organisation but their industry. They might be in employment or they might be out of employment looking for that. Then do share this with them. Share it by hitting the share button, share it on your timeline, or share it as a private message and send it to the person that you're connected with. It will be helpful. Okay, so there are stories that we can tell all the time. So I've called it telling tales and lovingly telling tales. What do I mean by that, and why is it even an important thing to think about? You may have heard people say that we're all unique. You may have heard people say that we all bring different gifts to the table, bring different shares to the party. But sometimes when it's our own thing that we're great at doing, it's really, really hard to kind of pick it out and work out what it is about that that's so great. Hey, Tracy, thank you for saying hello. It always lets me know that you're there and that the comments are working fine. So if hands up or hit the like or the love or the shocked face button if you've ever experienced where somebody says to you, oh my gosh, you're so great at fill in the blank, and you've heard yourself answering with, it's what that thing? It's just something that I do. Have you ever wondered why you're so great at the thing? And this is where stories come into play. And, one of the people I've been working with, they're so great with values. I can't wait to introduce them to you because values plays a really important piece. And I know that Tracy's thing is around values as well and strengths. So here are some little nuggets that I want to share today when it comes to telling stories. Now, these sorts of stories I've used, or telling tales as I say, I've used them in so many different places. So here are some examples where you might want to use them. I've used them in a boardroom, within financial services, so the place where you think storytelling, really? The place where, lots of, men in pinstripe suits tend to hang out. I've used stories in there and told tales in there because it helps to capture people's imagination. I've obviously done it when I've been speaking, so whether that's been speaking paid or otherwise, but whether that's been speaking to large rooms of hundreds of people or smaller, more intimate rooms, with 10, 20, under 100 people. And I've also been able to explore and use stories even for things on BBC Radio. So many of you will know that every now and then I get called up to do like BBC 5 Live. I'm like one of their coaching experts, and I've been on so many different BBC radio channels in the UK that Manchester, Scotland, loads. And you might think that when you are doing a segment, which you don't always have a lot of time to prepare for, like how would you use one of those stories? How would you use the stories to be visible and capture someone's attention? If somebody tags you in a comment on social media and you know that you can help, how do you use those few words to tell a story? So here are a couple of things to consider, a couple of things to think about. So the first thing is, think about your own life. Literally join the dots of your own life. Think about where you are today and what you're doing, regardless, like the good, the bad and the ugly, because sometimes there's stories within that ugliness too. Hands up if you've all had a story where you're just like, oh my gosh, hit the love button or the like button, because we've all had stories where there are things we've gone through in life that we really wish we hadn't gone through. That there are things that we wish that we hadn't experienced, but actually it leaves us with insights, it leaves us with stuff to share, it leaves us with things that actually inspire and help and motivate other people, especially for those of you who are service-based businesses, and especially for those of you whose work is around a lot of personal development and things like that. So I mean, Tracy's already saying it used to be her in her corporate life. Yes, the boardrooms, sometimes beige, mostly blue. Tracy's also saying, yeah, so true. Values in particular has helped her to realise why she's often felt out of sync with some aspects of the job that she was doing. And that's so true. There are so many people that when it boils down to it, they actually leave jobs because it doesn't align with their values. So here are some things that you can do to start formulating your own stories. So the first thing is this. Step one, if you like, join the dots. Look at the good, the bad and the ugly. Look at where you are today. Start with today and work backwards. For some people, for a small kind of group of people, starting from like I was born here and working forwards might work better for them. But just capture them somewhere, especially if your job depends on, or your role or your business depends on you being the person to articulate your value, to stand out, to be visible, so that people not only get and understand what you do, but they understand why they should even, consider working with you, doing anything like that. Now, if you are an employed professional and you're watching this and you're like wanting to prove your value or your worth at work, this is another great thing to do. It will help your journey, what you do to help other people to really, really stand out. I see the postman, but he's going on by, that's good. It will help what you do to stand out in a way that feels more conversational, less boastful, and more inclusive and acceptable for the people around you. It has them lean into you, and this is an important element of being a leader, of leadership, of doing things differently. So, what is it? What is it about that? What is it about that or what is it about you that's important? To start to collect those stories. And then the other thing that I find, and I see this a lot in the business owning world, so many of you will tell stories and you'll talk about, you'll give like a few moments and talk about how bad something was a few moments ago, a few weeks or months ago, and then you'll very quickly skip onto but I'm sorted now, I'm okay. And that's good. It's reassuring for us watching that you're okay. People need to understand really like the depths of where you came from. And the reason why these are so important, these steps, is when you can articulate and really have people get and understand where you were at in that particular scenario, or where, not having your work in place where they are at, in a way that they know you understand them, it means that you really start to stand out. You really start to be visible. And the reason why that's important is when you're visible from that element and that perspective, it means that you aren't having to resort to tactics or to hacks. You don't have to wear bright clothing. You don't have to shout the loudest. You don't have to swear if it's not your normal way of communicating with people. You don't have to resort to gimmicks to stand out. You can resort to being you and still be worthy, still be valued, and still stand out. Now, this will in turn have an effect on your audience. You'll get more of the people that you really love working with seeing you, hearing you, and gravitating towards you. This is a very magnetic way to do visibility and to do life. people will start to gravitate towards you. It means you'll have more fun in your business. I have so much fun. You know, I'm between London and Stoke at the moment. So being able to work and have people say, oh my gosh, that was just an amazing, or a light bulb moment, is important for me, that they get that, you know, they get what they came for. So being able to build your business in a way that you love, around friends, family, lifestyle, working less, health issues, or anything else like that, is so important, and you're worth it. You're totally worth it. And then the third reason why it's so important is because your credibility is a way that you can demonstrate to people that you know what you're talking about. And that often doesn't just come from qualifications or courses that you've done. When people know that you get the subject and that you understand it, that's when it becomes super magnetic. That's when you'll get the phone calls, the emails. You know, I've often wondered whether I should, on a weekly basis, say, here's what landed in my inbox today. Apart from the usual emails, you know, of, you know, Moo business cards, who are great business cards, by the way, you know, putting out their special offers and things like that. I get a lot of, Jenny, would you be able to help with this project? Or we worked with you, you know, 2 years ago. Would you be open to doing this piece? Or Jenny, do you mind if I pass your details on to so-and-so because they're really interested in blah, blah, blah. That's all the stuff I don't post on social media. It's part of business as usual, but I want for you to have your credibility really seen and really heard in a way that feels good. So hopefully helpful. Tracy's written some really great comments on there. I love what you're sharing there, Tracy. It's time for me to go back to my VIP clients. So I'm going to go back to them, and I'll see you again tomorrow live at 11:45. Bring a friend. Who do you know who might need to hear some of this as well? Can't wait to see you. Thank you for your comments, and I'll definitely be back to answer those. Thank you so much for joining, and Tracy is definitely a woman of values too. So lots of love. Do share this, and I'll also include the link if you want to see what all 5 steps of the Visibility Acceleration and Visibility Activation Program is, the Visibility Vibe System, so that you can start to put them in place. You'll also get, you know, little weekly nuggets from me on how to actually use them in the work that you do. Can't wait to see what you do with your stories. Let me know. Post below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.